Good day, everybody. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here, Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of my followers. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell button. That way you're alerted when I come out with one of these videos. We have a lot to talk about today. We have Tropical Storm Wanda this late in the hurricane season. We also have Invest95L just west of the Cape Verdes, and we have another system in the southern Caribbean we're going to be watching. And if that weren't enough, on the other side of the coin of tropics, we're going to be watching a potential nor'easter for this weekend. We'll see how close this gets to the coastline. Definitely going to affect the southeast. We'll see if it affects the northeast. We'll get into snowfall amounts. Yes, I'm breaking out the snowfall map for Lake Erie and Lake Ontario this week. Maybe some sort of accumulation east of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. We'll go over all that. And don't forget, if you want to skip ahead, there are timestamps down below. Question or comment down below. If you want to leave a question or comment, smash that like button. I do appreciate it. Let's get right on into it. All right, here we go. We're taking a look at the tropics. Out here in the tropics, of course, we're watching Tropical Storm Wanda, just southwest of the Azores. This system, we'll be talking about this for a long time. This system's going to have ever so slightly towards the north-northeast. It really is blocked by two double-barrel high-pressure systems to the east and to the north. So this system isn't going anywhere. It's really not going to change much intensity either, and it'll slowly start to affect the western Azores probably by late weekend into early next week, going to pretty much maintain those gale force winds, anywhere from 40, 50, upwards of 55 miles an hour at times, gusts. And we're watching our next Invest system. This is Invest95L, just west of the Cape Verdes. This could develop into something and head due north. It's going to be drawn north. And, of course, we're watching a potential system here down in Latin America, in the far southern Caribbean. We'll watch this system, although its window is rapidly deteriorating as it's going to be heading inland. All right, taking a look at the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico. Look at this. Not much is happening. You can see the wind shear in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Clear as a bell underneath all this, so nothing to watch. We're watching something interesting down here in the Caribbean, but it's kind of weakening at this point, so I'm not really too worried about this at this point. Across the rest of the Atlantic, there is Wanda out here. See that circulation on the east side of Wanda, bringing up a lot of tropical moisture on the west side, or the east side of the system here towards the west side of the Azores. And we have that another potential system out here trying to develop as well. And we have something down here in Latin America, but it is quickly moving inland. All right, let's take a look at the North Atlantic and the rest of the Atlantic and North America for that matter. Got the North American view here. We have Tropical Storm Wanda out here, this big low pressure system. It is a very large circulation for a tropical storm. It's a minimal to moderate tropical storm, going to continue with all these gale force winds out here west of the Azores. Here is the Euro, thanks to tropicaltidbits.com. Look at this. We put this into motion through the rest of today. It's kind of gyrating around out here as it's really blocked to the northeast with a high-pressure system. High pressure building across the eastern part of the United States as well, keeping things pretty fair weather as that cooler conditions prevail. And look at this. Wanda is bouncing around all over out here as another low pressure starts to draw up. This should start to develop. There's that secondary low pressure developing by the weekend. We'll see if this becomes an East Coast player, although it'll probably slide out because we have a high pressure, very high, strong high pressure up here in the northeast part of the United States. And look at that. It really gets cranking by then. We're still dealing with Wanda out here west of the Azores. So it should start to affect parts of the Azores here. Big low pressure winding up over the North Atlantic. Look at this. Look how close this nor'easter comes to the East Coast. So we're kind of combining tropics here with nor'easter type conditions. We'll see how close this thing gets. Right now the Euro is keeping it mostly offshore with very limited effects, maybe some wind and maybe some bands of rain kind of moving into coastal areas, some beach erosion and whatnot, but the Euro is keeping it offshore. Really starts to connect or affect the Canadian Maritimes though by next Tuesday. So we'll have to see if this trend continues here. Another big trough kicking in across central North America. Let's get what the GFS here. We're looking at Monday. Look at this. Wanda's out here pretty much being blocked to the northeast. There's nothing Wanda can do to get out of here. Wanda is stuck. And here it is. There's that low pressure, that trough across the eastern part of the United States. And look at this. Wanda's kicking around here, just bouncing around. Wanda really can't do much out here on the GFS. And then look at this. By the weekend, there's that low pressure system developing. Look at that. On the GFS, we have 2 potential named storms out here in the Eastern Pacific. So Eastern Pacific tropics still continuing as well. And we bounce this into Saturday, midday Saturday. Look at this. Nor'easter right along the coast. So we'll probably have effects, according to the GFS, in eastern North Carolina, eastern Virginia, Delmarva, maybe as far as southeastern New Jersey. We'll have to watch on that here. And look at that. By Sunday, it's keeping offshore here, so not, we'll have some coastal effects here, but not the full nor'easter experience, so to speak, as it slides more conservatively away from the Canadian Maritimes. Let's take a look at the CMC here, see if we have any similar sort of thing going on here. Here's Wanda out in the central Atlantic, and yep, here we go. Yeah, CMC bouncing Wanda around, kind of picking up a little bit more progressively out here in the North Atlantic. High pressure retreating to the east here. And you see off the coastline here, you start to see this vorticity, more darker oranges and reds. We start to have the development of that coastal low a little bit sooner on the CMC, just off the Florida coastline here. We put that into motion, but it remains much more of an open wave type thing. So the CMC is a little bit stronger with the high to the north and keeps this system way away. So this is going to be interesting to see which model wins out here. This is fun with the models this time of year. And there's that big trough kicking in across the northern plains. All right, let's take a look at the anomalies across to North America, Pacific, and the Atlantic here. This always gets interesting this time of year. ECM, WF, the good old King Euro. Look at this across the eastern part of the United States. This is that trough. Anywhere in the blue, we have lower than normal heights. And then here into the west, that's where we see that ridge developing. This is what you want to see if you want to see potential for coastal systems and colder temperatures in the east. This gets us, let's take this through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. Yeah, we do have some higher heights here, so we'll have some ridging going on. Trough continues across the east coast, and look at this, and though this is that next system heading into the Pacific Northwest. This takes us to Thursday, so we have some troughiness and some ridging starting in the east according to the Euro. Let's get right into the GFS. More trophy than the Euro here across the east. Look at that big ridge out west here, really poking up into the Yukon and into the Arctic up here. And look at that trough continuing to spread across the east. The trough is much more bullish here on the GFS. So, and then another trough kicking in across the Pacific Northwest. If we put this into motion throughout next weekend, you do see some ridging here starting to take shape across the eastern part of North America. But that can be expected as the weather pattern. And then we start to get more troughiness again in the northeast come Tuesday, November 9th, and heading into the 10th. So, yeah, this is not the best pattern once we get into the second week for East Coast storms and snow, according to the GFS, and kind of agreeing with the Euro on that. And then look at the CMC. It's pretty much in line with the GFS throughout the week. We head towards Friday, November 5th here. Lower heights to normal, ridging out west here, and then we get into next weekend, and look at that. We just have that big old ridge here in the central part of North America. Trough on both coastlines here in the second week of November. Here we go. We got trough out west, ridge in the east. So we're switching places here. And here we go. We're taking a look at the NAO Index. Look at this. Zooming in on it. Look at that. We still are negative, and we're starting to really start to feel the effects of it. And according to the model data, we're going to continue to stay negative. Some of the models bump us up above 0 here into the positive, but I don't know. I'm not buying that too much. I think we'll maybe head towards 0, especially that second week of November as we get some ridging in the east. But I think for the most part, we'll back down and go negative again. I always like to show this once in a while. It's good to play around with the GFS total snowfall map. It's one that takes us out the farthest here. This takes us through Thursday, Friday. Here's the lakes here. You have eastern Canada way up here in northeast Canada. And then the Cascades and into the Rocky Mountains here, west of Denver. But for the most part, this has really backed off from what it was a week or two ago. So yeah, we do have some snow kicking into northern New England, like northern New Hampshire. This is by Thursday, November 11th, in northern Maine and into southern Ontario. But we're not really seeing a whole bunch here in the east. Here we go with this model run. I wanted to briefly show you throughout the week here, the GFS, we're taking a look at the surface map, model data. There's all that storminess across the southeast, secondary low pressure forming along the southeast coast, just off the coast of Florida and Georgia. This is late Friday, early Saturday, and see how the GFS rides it up along the east. You have this strong high up here in the northeast. This is what's doubting me for any northeast effects. It really keeps it just off the coastline or very razor thin and plows it east. Take a look at Euro. Here is the Euro. Euro does something very similar just off the southeast coast, brings it up, strengthens it by early Sunday morning, and then kind of bombs it here offshore. It's just really, the effects will be like Nantucket, Cape Cod, eastern tip of Long Island, the most effects, and then really brings it towards the Canadian Maritimes by then. And then if we take a look at the CMC here, take a look, put this into motion, much more docile with this system. There you have it, kind of brings it off the northeast coast as an open wave. And I just wanted to briefly show you this. This is really good to just get a generalized picture of any cold air outbreaks. This is the 2-meter temperature. These aren't the most accurate, but it gives us a big picture, especially since it really can't get the true highs and lows of the day. But this takes us through, here we go, Wednesday, November 3rd. Those were the lows there. I mean, they could get a lot colder for this time of year. And then we get into the highs, you know, Wednesday. We don't really see any... I mean, some of these will be warmer than indicated because by this point it'll be past sunset. But you see the lows, they're not too bad. I mean, we will be below freezing across much of the northeast, but look at this. This is just, I don't know. I'm not seeing any major cold air blasts at the moment. And look at this. We have that warming trend by the weekend out here in the plains with that ridge. And we do get some cold air up here in the northern Rockies, but at this point, you know, it's just, I don't see... We start to see some cold air building up here in Canada, though. This is earlier in the day, though, so it doesn't really count too much. Look at this. By Wednesday, take this with a grain of salt because this is Wednesday, November 10th, but look at this. We start to really get into a warming pattern. That's what, as the ridge propagates across eastern North America by then. But look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. By next Thursday, November 11th, we start to get some of this cold air even building during the day. This is what you want to see. And then in eastern Canada as well. So that's really interesting. We'll have to watch this trend and see if it continues. There we go. We're going to briefly look at precipitation totals. Let's just get to the fast part here of GFS. Going out 5 days, 1 to 5 days here. Out west, we're getting into another system. We'll see 1 to 2 inches of rain in the valleys and upwards of, look at that, 2+ feet into the Cascades and parts of the northern Sierra Nevadas. Look at this down in Texas. We have some tropical moisture feeding in with the next system that will be blossoming with potential for severe weather. And up there in the northeast, we have the lake effect streamers off of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, and look at this down in the southeast. That right there is with that nor'easter. GFS is pretty much keeping most of that offshore. And your upper air pattern for North America, we're going to continue to kick that trough in across the east, a ridge really developing out west. As I told you before, northwestern North America, the ridge extends all the way up into the Yukon. That is pushing a trough in the east, and that will make some unsettled weather, chances of rain and snow mix in some areas, and much cooler temperatures, more seasonable for this time of year. So we're really kicking that negative NAO index pattern in with the trough in the east, classic ridge out west. And for your Tuesday across the northeast, yep, that is some mix and some snow on the map, especially for southwestern upstate New York and in northwestern Pennsylvania. We'll be dealing with some scattered rain and snow showers likely. Closer to the lakeshore, like Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, will be dealing with warmer conditions into the mid to upper 40s, so that will stay rain in places like Erie and Dunkirk and Buffalo and Oswego up to Watertown. But in the higher elevations just east of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, we'll be getting into the slushy accumulation, maybe up to an inch possible, and some of those ridge tops maybe up to 2 inches potential. And we will be getting some of those rain and snow showers likely across parts of Binghamton, New York, as well as Elmira, and onto, of course, Watertown and the Tug Hill Plateau. And here we go for Wednesday across the Northeast. We'll be dealing with some lake effect, rain and snow showers, those streamers off Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, as we have the temperature difference between the lake and the apparent air temperature. Bands of rain will be coming off the lake into parts of Oswego County, up towards Onondaga County and Syracuse. Rain and snow showers inland, especially above 1,100 feet, where we could get up to a slushy inch in some of those more intense bands. Even Lake Erie, Erie, Pennsylvania, staying rain, but just inland into Crawford County, maybe as far east as Warren County, and Jamestown, New York, getting in on the act of some snow showers off the lake, some lake-enhanced snow. Temperatures will be pretty cool, although it is pretty seasonable, only making it into the lower 40s in western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania, and then, of course, we get into the mid to upper 40s across eastern Pennsylvania, upstate New York, the rest of upstate New York, and look at that, 50s towards the coastline like New York City, Boston, and Atlantic City. And for your Wednesday, warm along the Gulf Coast, that's pretty much draped to 100 miles, depending on where you are from Texas. North of that, places like Dallas, those are about 60 or below. North of that, we get into the 70s quickly here in the mid-80s, all these in Panama City, 70s. But here, showers and thunderstorms that will parts of eastern and strong to severe. Isolated tornadoes across places like of Houston, on the Linden, Texas area, up into parts of northern. There's some severe weather. And look at this, your Thursday across the Northeast, high pressure cresting overhead of the Adirondacks. And look at that, we only have a little bit of lake effect. It will be shutting down for the most part. Maybe early in the morning we'll have some scattered lake effect rain and snow showers. Rain closer to the coast where the lakes keep it warmer. Some lake effects, rain and snow showers inland, especially east of Buffalo there. But that will be quickly giving way to clouds and sunshine. And temperatures will be a little bit cool, 45 in Binghamton and State College, 46 in Pittsburgh, New York City, 48, 50 in Boston, 48 in Portland, and 55 in D.C. The cool spot seems to be Toronto at 40 and Burlington, 43. And for your Thursday across the Southeast, that front moves off the coastline, ushers in some cooler air, drier air across parts of the Gulf Coast. Still not clearing mid and southern Florida here, the midsection. Still dealing with showers and thunderstorms, some tropical moisture getting entrained. Even as far north, overrunning the front, as Panama City. We get some showers and thunderstorms, and we'll have some leftover showers and thunderstorms throughout the rest of the Southeast as well. Places like Atlanta, maybe up through Raleigh and Norfolk. Temperature-wise, we will be on the cool down here. Places like New Orleans falling into the upper 60s later in the day. And Houston, only low to mid-60s. That's all we can do for you. And 50s are the rule across Birmingham, Atlanta, up in parts of Raleigh and Norfolk, where we're staying in the mid-upper 50s here. Even Charleston, South Carolina, only the mid-60s. You have to get down into parts of Florida, mid-70s in Panama City, and all the way down to 85 in Miami. And TGIF across the Northeast, the day everybody waits for. It just seems so... These weeks just seem so long these days, but we will get to TGIF, don't you worry. Wall-to-wall sunshine, a beautiful Friday to be had across the Northeast. Look at that. Sunny and 49 in Pittsburgh, all the way to Bangor, Maine, 46 and sunny. Crystal clear blue skies. Get out there and enjoy it in New York City. Beautiful time of year to get out there and enjoy. Still got some fall foliage. Even places of the Finger Lakes and Pennsylvania, New Jersey still have some fall foliage, and closer to the coast, especially in New England. So get out there and enjoy that fall foliage. You're past peak up by the Adirondacks, northern New England, so in parts of the Catskills, highest peaks, but still a nice day to get out there and enjoy. And Friday, we have some sort of secondary low potential developing off the Carolinas here, South and North Carolina. Low pressure really starts to take shape, so we're probably not going to get rid of the rain for you in Charleston and east of Raleigh, maybe as far north as Norfolk. We'll have to see how far north this low gets, but you see the high pressure will be crusting over the northeast by this time, so that blocking high to the north will make this low pressure probably move pretty slow out of the picture. So we'll have some residual moisture across central and southern Florida too, maybe a stray shower or a thunderstorm throughout the day. Temperatures will continue to be on the decline, with Atlanta only in the low 50s up towards Raleigh, and Birmingham mid-50s. And look at that, along the Gulf Coast, we're low 60s from Houston, New Orleans, mid to upper 60s in Panama City, and still holding on to 80 to 85 down by Tampa and Miami. And taking a look at the extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania. We'll look at that by Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. It will be our first frost/freeze at this point, getting down to 30 in the normally colder valleys, 25 by Thursday morning, 27 by Friday morning, and 31 by Saturday morning. Look at that, and we will continue to see a downtrend in the temperatures. We'll kind of balance it out by the weekend. But look at that, Tuesday we'll have a chance of rain and snow showers throughout the day, probably some lake enhancement into Wednesday as well, maybe a chance of a shower or a snow shower in the morning, chance of a shower in the afternoon. By Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're breaking out the big old ball of light in the sky. So much more welcome to, say, across the Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania. Get out there and enjoy. And as always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. As always, give my Facebook pages some love. It's Meteomark, also Weather Northeastern and Hurricane Northeastern. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern and Meteomark.com and WeatherNortheastern.com. It's YouTube at Meteomark. Thanks for joining me.